Hello and welcome back to My Favorite Crafty Things 2016. This is Jennifer McGuire. I hope you're having a good day. Now today is the first day of the series and I'm talking all about stamps and stamp care. Now this video is going to focus on stamp care. My other video that I put up today is all about my favorite stamps, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Also go over to my blog. I'll have discount codes and huge giveaways during this series. Okay, so this is all about stamp care or the essentials you need for stamping. Now, these haven't changed much over the years, which is a good thing. So you might already have some of these tools, but there are some that might be new to you and are worth checking out. I'm going to start with a tool that you don't need to have for stamping, but I assure you that it has changed the life of many stampers out there, and that is the MISTI stamping tool. You don't need this. You don't have to have it, but I assure you, you will love it. There's the mini MISTI, which you see there on the right. The original MISTI is on the left, and there is a bigger version, but I don't have that one. I get asked often which one I would recommend. It's really up to you. I use both of these. I think I use the mini more often since I'm usually working in such a small space because of everything on my desk. But the original is nice if you're doing multiple cards at once because you can make more than one in the original. Now, they both work the same way, and there are many things you can do with the MISTIs. It can help with straighter stamping. It can help with getting clear images, multiple stamping, fun techniques. The sky is the limit. One of the best things about the MISTI for me is that I never mess up a sentiment anymore. Now, if you get the MISTI, there are a couple things I recommend. I recommend the cleaner. I also recommend extra magnets, not as many as I have there on the left. Lila just took all the magnets out of all my MISTIs and put them in one for some reason. I also recommend a printed grid transparency like you see me using here. It helps to make sure you have things centered and straight before you go ahead and stamp with them. You can either print your own on transparency by going to the MISTI website, which is My Sweet Petunia, or you can buy the transparency that you see there, all ready to go from Simon Says Stamp, and I'll link to that. Notice that you can stamp the same image multiple times. You can layer different colors to create new colors. Lots of things you can do. This is a more expensive tool, and I think it's definitely worth the investment. This is something you could ask for a Christmas gift from a loved one. I definitely recommend it. And since I stamp more than most people because this is my job, I have several MISTIs. It was worth the investment for me to do that, and my kids like to steal them too. I even got a MISTI for my own personalized stamp. So let me show you. If you check out this mini MISTI here, you can take out the paper, which keeps it all tidy, and there is a black foam pad in there. If you're doing stamping with a clear stamp, you keep the black foam pad in it. If you're doing stamping with a cling rubber stamp, you take the pad out, and it gives you room so that you can stamp with it. So you can use these with cling stamps too. So in this MISTI here, I have my personalized stamp that I use on the back of cards, and I keep it there. So this is how this MISTI is always set up. So whenever I finish a card, I can stamp that on the back. So this rubber greeting that I put on the back of the cards, it came on a wood-mounted stamp that I ordered from Bossy Jossie. I just peeled it off and stuck it in this MISTI. So yes, I do have a MISTI just for this, but I do make that many cards. It's a great tool to have. Okay, so I also think it's important to have good stamping blocks. I don't always use the MISTI, and if you don't have the MISTI, it's important to have good blocks. I like the Lawn Fawn stamping blocks. The reason I like them, most of all, is they're nice and thick, and they have grid lines, which help me to line things up. So I usually work on a grid paper surface, so I can line up the grid paper surface with my card, with the grid lines on my block to make sure I get things stamped straight. I also like the handles on the side because they have the little grooves for your finger. It's easy to turn a mount around. If you're using a square mount, it's not as easy to turn in every direction. Now, there are many size Lawn Fawn blocks. To be honest with you, mine are buried somewhere after going to a Crafty retreat, and I can't find them. But there are long, small, medium, all different sizes, everything you need. Okay, now for cleaning stamps. I do use baby wipes. The brand I highly recommend are Kirkland baby wipes. You can get these online at Amazon or you can get them at Costco. I really like these wipes. I don't use wipes as much as I used to. I'm trying to conserve. These are nice because they don't leave lint behind. They're not stinky. I like the top because if I don't use a wipe completely, I can tuck it back in and keep it moist so that I can use it again next time I'm crafting. So if you're looking for a good baby wipe for stamping, I think this is a good choice. But what I really like to use for cleaning stamps is the Lawn Fawn Stamp Chamois. I don't know what it is, but when you wipe a stamp clean with this, it just feels right. It feels like it's meant to clean a stamp. Now, what it is a chamois that you run under the water, just run it under water to soften it, and then it's ready to clean. If you let it dry out, it'll harden, but all you have to do is run it under water, wring it out, and you're ready to go again. What I do is I keep mine in this salt saver, which I don't think they make anymore. But basically, it's a container that allows a little bit of air in, but not much. So you want to use maybe a little baggie or like a Tupperware container, but don't seal it completely because if you do, it might get a little smelly inside. I don't have a problem with that if I allow a little bit of air in. What I like about this stamp chamois is that it is super durable. Now, this one's a brand new one that I'm showing you here. It will stain, and those stains won't come out, but that's okay. It means you're doing lots of stamping. So what I do is when mine's starting to dry out, I just spray some water in there so I don't have to get up and go to the sink, and then I'm ready to go again. I highly recommend trying one of these out. They last for a long time, even if they get inky, but they do hold up well. Now that's what I use for everyday stamping when I'm just cleaning off my stamp so I can put it away. But sometimes you need to give your stamp a really good cleaning. So say you're switching from black ink and you want to go to a light pink ink, you want to clean it super well. This is what I use. I use the Hero Arts Scrubber Pad and Ultra Clean Spray, and that's the spray bottle that you see there. This Ultra Clean Spray is safe for clear stamps, which is very important. Not all stamp cleaners are safe for clear stamps. This one is. So here I'm going to take some candles. I'm just going to stamp it with black ink. Now I'm just going to use my little stamp chamois to wipe it clean, which cleans off the black ink just fine. I'll be able to move on and stamp again if I need to, or don't have to worry about getting ink on something else. But say I wanted to be sure it was super duper clean before I moved on to a light color. In that case, I'm going to go ahead and clean it with my Ultra Clean and my scrubber pad. So you can see how it looks a little tinted here. Unfortunately, the best inks do stain stamps. That's just a part of the deal, but that doesn't mean that it's going to taint your next ink pad. So let me show you. On the scrubber pad, on the one side, I spray a few times with the Ultra Clean cleaner. I scrub back and forth with my stamp. Then I dry it off and kind of clean it off more with the other side of the scrubber pad. And check it out, the stamp is nice and clean again. Sometimes you won't be able to get all the color off your stamp, but you will remove all the ink and don't have to worry about it transferring. Now you can just run this under water to clean it. I've had one of these scrubber pads for ages. They last quite a long time, and so does the Ultra Clean. You can also use the Ultra Clean to clean off your acrylic blocks. So I will say, be sure not to use any other stamp cleaners without checking to make sure they're safe for clear stamps, but this one definitely is. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about stamp pockets and storing your stamps just briefly because I've done very complete in-depth videos on this in the past. Be sure to check those out. For most of my stamps, I use the Simon Says Stamp or Avery Elle large stamp pockets. They hold your 4x6 clear stamps and cling stamps just great. Any stamp sets that are smaller, I put in this pocket also, as you can see here. This size pocket is great. It's got a flap that closes and tucks in the back, keeps your stamps nice and safe. Now for background stamps that are about 6x6, I get the pocket that you see on the right and I cut the top off. I put some paper in and then I have something for my background stamps. This plastic is much thinner, but it's all you need to kind of keep this from getting anything dirty, and you can label it too. By the way, these pockets do not come with the white inserts. I just cut those myself at Kinko's. I get a bunch cut at once from some inexpensive white cardstock. Now for taller stamp sets, like the birthday stamp set that you see in the back there, I use the My Favorite Things tall pockets. They're about the same width as the regular pockets that I normally use, but they're tall enough for those taller 4x8 stamp sets. Now for your really big stamp sets, the 6x8, I use the Avery Elle extra large pockets. This is a new size. They're nice and big, and they are just like all the other pockets I just showed you. They have the flap on top. I left the white cardstock out of that one so you can see what it's like to have your stamp sets in there without it. You don't have to have that white insert by any means. I just like to cut my own and put it in there for a little bit of stability, and so I can better see the stamps. So those are the different stamps pockets that I use. I'll talk about other things like die pockets in future videos in this series. But again, be sure to check out my recent video on stamp pockets. It includes dimensions and everything you need to know. I will link to that here. And by the way, if I have a stamp set with a coordinating die, I put the coordinating dies in the back of the pocket and it holds it in there nice and safe with the stamps. So that's my stamp care recommendations for this year. There are many other what I call bonus products that help with stamping, but these are the ones that I feel are really essential to really doing some good stamping. If you're interested in these products, I always link them below to multiple sources, but be sure to go to my blog because I have a discount code for the life of this series, and then I also have some big giveaways. You can click here to watch my favorite Crafty Things stamps for this year and also to see that stamp pocket video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll see you again soon.